So we're at the site of Valle del Llano, and close to here, in the Llano Pearblossom area, Aldous Huxley lived from 1941 to 1946. I don't know if he lived in the ruins here. He might have visited. I'm sure he walked all over the area. But while he was living out here and going into Hollywood to work, he wrote a book, The Crows of Pearblossom. He wrote it for his daughter, for Christmas of 1944. I'm not sure the book was ever meant to be published, but it seemed like a great day. It's Aldous's 120th birthday out here at the ruins, Lors and I. I'll read it for you. Once upon a time, there were two crows who had a nest in a cottonwood tree in Pearblossom. In a hole in the bottom of the tree lived a rattlesnake, and he was very old and very big, and when he shook his rattles, the noise was so loud that it could be heard by the children at school in Little Rock. Most of the time he slept, but every afternoon, punctually at 3:30, he used to crawl out of his hole, climb the tree, and look into the crow's nest. If there was an egg in the nest, which there usually was, he would swallow it in one mouthful, shell and all. Then he crawled back into his hole and went to sleep again. When Mrs. Crow came back from the store, where she went every afternoon to buy her groceries, she would find the nest empty. "What can have happened to my darling little egg?" she would say, as she hunted high and low. But she never found it, so after tea, she laid another one. And this had gone on for a long time, when one day Mrs. Crow came home earlier than usual and caught Mr. Snake in the act of swallowing her latest egg. "Monster!" she cried. "What are you doing?" Speaking with his mouth full, the snake answered, "I am having breakfast," and he glided down the tree and into his hole. When Mr. Crow came home that evening from Palmdale, where he worked as an assistant manager in the drugstore, he found his wife looking very pale and haggard, pacing up and down the branch outside their nest. "What's the matter, Amelia?" he said. "You look quite ill. You haven't been overeating again, have you?" And he laughed. "So how can you be so coiled and corkscrewed into such complicated convolutions that at last he got his tail tipped up in a clove hitch around another branch of the tree. So there he was, and the harder he tried to get loose, the tighter the knot became. And all the time the clay eggs in his insides were giving him the most excruciating stomach ache." By and by, Mr. Crow came back from the store, and at first, when she saw the snake, she was frightened, but as soon... Let's do that again. By and by, Mrs. Crow came back from the store, and at first, when she saw the snake, she was frightened, but as soon as she noticed how tightly he had tied himself up, she felt very brave and proceeded to give the snake a very long lecture on the wickedness of eating other people's eggs. Since that time, Mrs. Crow has successfully hatched out 4 families of 17 children each, and she uses the snake as a clothesline on which to hang the little crow's diapers. They all lived happily ever after. And that's from Valle del Llano on Aldous Huxley's 120th birthday, July 26, 2014. Chris Spiker.